Picture a single seed, buried in darkness, smothered beneath cold, unyielding earth. To the world, it's go nothing sprouts, nothing blooms, just silence. But what no one sees is that deep in that soil, in the quiet, a life is stirring, ready to break through. The ground that looked like its tomb is, in truth, its cradle. That's exactly what's happening with you. How many times have you felt like everything was lost? Like there's no direction, no purpose, no whisper from God. Like the heavens have gone silent, and your life has hit a dead end. Maybe that's where you are right now, waiting in the quiet, lost in confusion. But hear this isn't the end. This is the moment God starts writing the most transformative chapter of your story. In the Bible, no testimony comes without a trial. No hero of faith escaped the valley. Joseph was betrayed, sold, forgotten. Job lost everything, his children, his wealth, his health. David ran, hiding in caves. Even Jesus, the Son of God, faced the cross in silence before the glory of the resurrection. It's when everything feels like it's falling apart that God is working hardest, but his work is unseen. When you can't hear him, he's whispering. In the shadows, when you see no way out, he's opening doors no human eye can spot. And when you feel buried, you're not you're being planted. You haven't been forgotten. You're being prepared. You might not understand the pain right now. You might be crying out for answers, for relief, for a sign. But listen with your heart. God doesn't waste a single tear. The suffering you're facing today will become the testimony that touches lives tomorrow. What's growing in your pain will bloom in its time, and it will change lives. So, take a deep breath. Don't give up. Don't quit. You're not at the end, you're at the beginning of something that will glorify God's name. What feels like defeat today will be remembered as the stage for your miracle. The same God who stood with Joseph in the pit, with Daniel in the lion's den, with Paul in prison, is standing with you now. And he's already writing the next part of your story. If there's one story that proves an ending can be the start of a powerful testimony, it's Joseph. The dreamer. Picture this: betrayed by your own brothers, sold as a slave, torn from your home, your father, and the dreams God placed in your heart. To the world, Joseph was finished, discarded, defeated, erased from the promise. But what looked like the end was only the beginning of something extraordinary. In Egypt alone, Joseph held fast to one thing: his faith. He knew, even without understanding, that God was working, even when falsely accused, even when locked in prison, even when forgotten by those who promised help. Joseph chose to trust, and here's the powerful truth: when you stay faithful in the valley, God lifts you to the palace. Years later, that rejected boy was raised by God to be Egypt's most powerful man, second only to Pharaoh. And when he faced his brothers, the ones who betrayed him, he didn't speak with hatred or anger. He said, "You meant to harm me, but God turned it for good, to save many lives." Joseph understood. The valley shaped the leader. The prison was part of the path. God's silence wasn't rejection, it was refinement. And that's true for you too. Maybe you're facing unemployment, a tough diagnosis, a family crisis, or a loneliness that eats away at you. You look around and see no way out. All you feel is God's deafening silence. But just like with Joseph, God isn't absent, he's moving in the unseen. What does that mean? It means what feels like the end of your marriage could be the start of a testimony of restoration. That closed door that left you lost might be the pivot to a greater purpose. The desert you're crossing today will become the holy ground where God raises you with authority to inspire others. God never wastes pain. He transforms what the enemy meant to destroy you into a platform to touch lives. But here's the key: you have to stay. Joseph didn't complain. He didn't rebel. He stayed faithful, even without proof, without applause. In the silence, maybe that's what God's waiting for from you now. Steadfastness in uncertainty, faith in chaos, obedience without answers. Because it's in that posture that the greatest testimonies are born, not when everything's perfect, but when, even in the dark, you say, "Lord, I trust you." Know this: God is building something. Every tear is raw material for your miracle. Every unanswered night is forging maturity. Every no is aligning you with the yes that matters. You may not see it yet, but soon you'll understand. This was never the end, it was the beginning of your testimony. Now, let's make this real for your everyday life. You don't need a literal desert or a prison like Joseph to feel trapped. Sometimes the cell is in your mind. Sometimes the desert is in your heart, a gnawing sense that nothing changes, that you're stuck in a purposeless routine, waiting for something that never comes. How many times have you thought, "I did everything right, so why did it all go wrong?" Or, "Why is God silent now, when I need Him most?" But that's where the secret lies. God isn't building your comfort, He's building your character. And that takes process, time, and faith. Picture a woman who prayed for years for her husband's heart to change. Every church service, every tear, every plea felt futile. He stayed distant, cold, closed off, until one day, out of nowhere, he walked through the church doors, knelt, and gave his life to Christ. What seemed barren for years became a testimony of faith and perseverance. Or think of a young man dreaming of becoming a doctor, only to see the doors slam shut at his first entrance exam. He felt like a failure. But instead of giving up, he studied harder, worked tirelessly, and years later graduated with honors. And his first patient, his own father, saved because he refused to quit. What he thought was the end was really the start of his calling. That's how God moves. That job you lost, it might be God shielding you from a place that would crush your dreams. That friendship that fell apart, it could be His protection. That door that closed, it's just a bridge to something greater. But to see this, you need to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" start declaring, "Lord, what are you doing through this?" Because life with God isn't about dodging pain, it's about finding purpose in it. So, here's how to live this out today. If you're in a season of waiting, stand firm. Today's wait could be the stage for tomorrow's testimony. If you feel forgotten, hold fast. God never forgets those who trust Him. If you've fallen, rise with conviction. This isn't the end. The same God who lifted the broken woman and gave purpose to the thief on the cross is still lifting shattered lives to become living witnesses of His grace. You may not control what happened, but you can decide what you'll build from it. The enemy wants you to close the chapter of your life right here, at the point of pain. But God is saying, keep writing. There are still pages to turn. There are still promises to fulfill. There are still testimonies waiting to be born. Today, choose to see with the eyes of faith, because the pain you're feeling now is planting the seeds for your future impact. And when it all makes sense, you'll look back and say, what I thought was the end was only the beginning of my testimony. Lord, my God and Father, today I stand before you with an open heart, a surrendered soul, and a living hope even amidst the pain of this journey. You are the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. You see what I cannot see, Lord, and even when everything feels finished, you whisper to my soul, this is not the end, it's only the beginning. Blessed be your name, with it now, God. You who created the heavens and the earth, you who parted the sea with the palm of your hand, you who raised the dead and turned crosses into eternal victories. There are no limits to your power. No silence can mute your voice. Even when the world says, it's over, you declare, it has begun. Today, I praise you, Lord, because even without understanding, I trust. Even without seeing, I believe. Even without strength, I kneel, knowing your power is made perfect in my weakness. Thank you, my God. Thank you for the times I wept and found comfort, for the doors that closed but spared me, for the new beginnings I didn't plan but brought me closer to your purpose, for the silence that taught me to hear your heart, for the no that protected me, for the waiting that shaped me, for the desert that revealed who you are today. Lord, I pray especially for those listening with a shattered heart, for those thinking of giving up, for those who feel they've reached the end of the line. Come now, Holy Spirit, and touch every wounded soul. Embrace those who are broken, lift those who have fallen, revive the dreams that were buried, restore the strength drained by life's battles. Father, step into the dark valleys, the silent homes, the rooms where tears are hidden, and with your love, say, my son, my daughter, I'm still here, and what you think is the end is the stage for your testimony. Lord, silence every lie from the enemy that says we've failed. Wipe away every feeling of worthlessness, shame, or defeat, and plant in your people's hearts the certainty that an eternal purpose is being written in the chaos. Lord, strengthen those waiting for answers, give direction to the lost, grant peace to the anxious, bring healing to the sick, and above all, God, give courage to those ready to quit.